and according to your complaint, tried to reconcile. The reconciliation did not work out, and it is your claim that the defendant has a television set that belongs to you, in addition to other personal property.
Yes.
The defendant says that the television set was a gift to him, and he has a counterclaim. The counterclaim says that you cleaned out his bank accounts, that you owe him for some medical bills, and some important papers that he wants. Is that right?
That's correct.
So let's get some dates. When did you try this reconciliation?
I moved back in on December of 2000.
For how long?
I moved out again on March 20th.
Oh, and when did you purchase this television set?
March 2nd it was purchased.
What kind of television?
It was a Mitsubishi large screen, 50-inch, I believe.
A man's television. You want me to tell you how I know that, Mrs. Marafino? Bert, don't look so disgusted. I'm going to tell you. I have a lovely living room in my house that I spent a great deal of time trying to make just perfect. And right in the corner as you walk in is this monster 55-inch television set that is the ugliest thing I ever saw. It's not mine.
This one's mine.
Okay. So tell me the circumstances surrounding you purchasing it.
We discussed it, and I said that I would buy it, and I bought it. There was no mention of a gift. It was not a gift.
It's not true.
Just a minute, I'll get to you in a minute. At that point, you were living together as a family. Is that right?
Correct. We were not married at the time.
I understand, but you were living together as a family.
Yes.
How are the bills being handled?
My income and his income went into one joint account, and they were paid out of that one account.
Is that correct?
That's correct.
Okay. Where did the money come from for this television set? From the joint account or from your individual account?
You have to excuse, I only have a copy of my tax income return.
Just answer my question.
Okay.
The money, did you pay
Was
cash?
a tax income refund.
Just a second. Did you pay cash
No.
for this television set?
It was a check,
From where?
our joint account.
That's what I'm asking you, so let's just get to it. What you're saying is you both pooled your money into a joint account,
Yes,
and from that you paid all the bills.
yes,
And when you got your income tax refund, it went into the joint account.
yes,
And it was from the joint account that the television was paid from.
yes.
Is that right?
That's correct.
Now, you explain to me why, sir, you believe this was a gift to you.
Basically, I had wanted a big screen TV, and we were saving up money to make that purchase or whatever. She said she was going to be getting her income tax check back and put it in the account, and that she was going to buy this TV for me as a present. And eventually, we were going to save up some more money, and the agreement was that eventually we would purchase a hot tub, basically. That's what she wanted.
Did you get a tax refund that year?
Did I get a tax refund? Yes, it was after we had separated already.
Let's say, sir, that this was not a gift to you. This was something that was purchased for the household. For the household.
Okay.
Then you would have to distribute the property. Now, let's say this came out of joint funds.
Mm-hmm.
But you kept the property, right?
That's correct.
And it's brand new property. It's not something that was purchased 10 years ago.
That's correct.
You got to pay for it, unless you want to give it the television set.
That's correct.
Oh, then we've resolved the whole issue.
Well,
How much was the television
Your Honor,
set?
Your Honor.
$1,960.
I have a
Your
letter
Honor.
here, though, stating that she had accepted her losses and that she's moved on.
Your Honor, that was
Just a sec.
before I filed the lawsuit.
Just a minute. I'll take a look at your letter. I'll take a look at your letter.
After she had come and taken everything.
You mean you want me to read the part where she says, I've cut my losses with my possessions and have moved on?
Right, correct.
Give her the money for the television set, sir. You watching it? You watching it? It's in your house?
Yes.
Then you pay her for it. It came out of a joint account. But as you said, most of it was paid for, or if not all of it was paid
All of
for
it,
out of,
Your Honor.
all of it was paid out of her money, and the expectation was you were going to save up more of your joint money and buy her what she wanted.
That's
the
correct.
relationship terminated before that, so she never got her end of the deal, which was our hot tub. Right?
That's correct, but...
Good!
Okay.
$1,960 television set. Personal property. What kind of personal property are you talking about?
My son's sporting goods stuff, I had a police escort, so there wouldn't be any problems. The police officer told us both that whatever he said I could have is what I could get because he owned the home. I asked for a walkthrough of the house. I didn't really see anything, and the TV was nowhere in the house. Anyway, my stuff and my son's stuff...
Where'd you move the TV?
Your Honor,
Where'd you move the TV? It's a big TV to move. Where'd you move it?
to a friend's house.
Why? Why?
Because I didn't want any trouble. I didn't want to be fighting and starting a fight. We had problems with our relationship. She left. She cleared out the whole
I'll get to
checking
your
and savings
counterclaim
account.
in a minute, sir. Do you have her son's sporting equipment?
Yes, I do.
Where is it?
It's in the garage.
Good. You give it to him. What else?
That's
Assorted clothes, assorted kitchen stuff,
Forget it.
a treadmill.
You have her treadmill?
Your Honor, that treadmill was at the house, and when she came to get her possessions, she said that it would not fit in her house, and she left it on the back patio.
It's still there.
Yeah, it's still there.
You want to make arrangements to go and get it? Go and get it.
Well, Your Honor, it's been out in the rain. It was...
Should have filed your lawsuit before. You're not going to get money for it.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Maria Marafino says ex-husband Felix Wages owes for a big screen TV and the return of her property.
Now, you say that she cleaned out a bank account. What bank account did you clean out and when?
It was our joint account, basically the day after she had left.
Can I see it? Just a minute. Just a minute. Did you withdraw money from the checking account?
There was $1,400 in the checking account. I took out $700.
There was two right in a row there, Your Honor, one for $700, one for $726 right underneath it.
Yeah, and you must have took that out because, Your Honor, I did not.
Well, there's one on the 25th and there's one on the 26th,
Right,
sir, so I can't tell. You might have taken one out the next day. Is that possible?
Not that I recall, I did not.
Well,
I mean,
not that you recall.
Well, I know for a fact I did not.
Fine.
That's-
She was going to clean out the checking account. She would have done it on the same day.
Also, Your
Well,
Honor...
now, Your Honor, on there, on the second page, you can see she went back into the account the next month and withdrew more money out of the account. She proceeded to
You're
use...
talking about $41.75?
Your Honor,
And
I
she
did
had
take
told me-
$40 out, and $175, I think, was a little ATM charge.
Why did you take it out the following month?
Because I needed food, groceries. I
Okay,
went
but you'd
out
already
with...
taken out your half.
Oh, yes, ma'am. Yes,
Okay,
ma'am.
So he gets credit for $41. Okay. Now, the savings account, you took
There
the
was
whole thing.
$305 in the savings,
Right.
and I took out $300 of it.
That's not half. Did you both put money in the savings account?
No, Your Honor, he has a business account that he was putting money in as well that had over $1,000 in it at the time.
No, that doesn't answer my question. Were you both putting money in the savings account?
Yes.
Then you were only entitled to half, not the entire amount.
Okay.
So he gets credit for $150. Okay.
Can I explain why I'm actually asking for more money?
No, I'm not interested why you're actually asking for more money.
Well, Your Honor...
I'm not interested. Anybody who takes a television out of the house so that it's not there, I'm not interested in what they have to say about that. You took out half, you have half. Now, let's hear about the medical bill, sir. That's another part of your counterclaim.
When we had gotten back together again, I had received an income tax check. I had signed the income tax check over to her to get a breast enhancement, and basically I figured if she could give this TV as a present to me and ask for it back, that was a present to her.
He'd like my implants back?
Forget it. What's next? It's an interesting theory. Let's go. Next. Papers.
She has papers from the house, mortgage papers and everything like that.
Is the house in your name?
Yes, it is.
Those his papers?
Yes, ma'am.
Give them to him.
This was in one of the garbage can bags that he packed of my stuff.
It's not
They're all
very
there.
organized. 191. So $1,769 for the television set if he's going to keep
Your
it.
Honor, it's out of a joint account. I don't understand that.
Is it back in your house?
Yes, it's in my house.
You've moved it back.
Yes.
Pay for it. Even
It's
listen
just-
to me. Listen to me. Even if I take what your excuse for this television set was as gospel, the agreement was that since she was getting the money at that point, and you want, I'm speaking and you're not receiving,
Okay, I'm hearing what you're saying, Your Honor.
that the television set was going to be purchased first, and then when you got your money, your tax refund, you would purchase the hot tub with your money that would go into the joint accounts because that's what she wanted. Well, that contract was never fulfilled. It was never fulfilled because I'm speaking and you're not receiving. You're going to try to talk around me, over me, through me. It's not going to work. Your contract, therefore, with her was not fulfilled. Then she gets either the television back or the money for the television back. $1,769 judgment for the plaintiff. That's all.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
After now, we will never be together again.
I think he's a selfish, evil man.
And now the next case.
All parties on Moeller versus Stevens. Step forward, please.
Commercial pilot Doug Moeller is suing his neighbors, Roger and Jackie Stevens, and their son, 17-year-old Brian. Doug says Brian purposefully damaged his daughter's bicycle. The Stevens are countersuing for the cost of a bike and damage to their screen door.
Mr. Moeller, it is your claim that the defendant's son damaged your daughter's bike.
That's correct.
The defendant says that he caused no damage to the bike, and they are counterclaiming because they say that their daughter's bike was stolen from your backyard and it's your fault. B, that your son tore a hole in their screen door. You weren't there during this bike incident?
No, ma'am, I wasn't.
I'd like you to sit down.
Okay.
And your children up here. Now, you weren't present either, is that right?
Correct.
So you can sit down, leaving the alleged perpetrator standing. When did this happen?
Around midsummer last year.
Tell me about the day.
We went over to see my cousin that we always play with.
You have to speak up because I can't hear you. Tell me your first name.
Timothy Moeller.
All right, Timothy, keep your voice up. You hear the way I'm talking?
Yeah.
Try to do it.
Okay.
Good. Okay, go ahead.
Brian started jumping up and down on the bike.
That's Brian. Yeah. What were you doing on the bike?
I was sitting on it. I've never seen a bike like that before, so I was testing out the shocks.
Testing out the shocks.
Right.
And how, Brian, were you testing out the shocks?
I bounced up and down on the seat a couple times and lifted the front tire off the ground about 2 inches and then let it go.
It was a girl's bike, wasn't it?
No, it wasn't.
The boy's bike?
Yeah.
Big or little?
It was big. It was 20 inch.
Your Honor, could I give you a photograph of the bicycle as
Yes,
evidence?
I'd like to see it.
This is a photograph of the bicycle with the bicycle license, and it shows that these are actually children's bicycles. Quite a bit smaller than an adult would be riding.
Small?
I didn't think it was.
Small?
Okay.
Okay. Who told you you could get on the bike?
Nobody.
Can I see the wheel, please? How old are you?
17. I
So,
was
get a
16.
job and pay for the wheel. Wheel's all bent. Wheel's all bent. Would you step up, sir? Make very quick work of this part of the case. Your son got on a bike without permission, tested out the springs, didn't ride it the way it was supposed to be ridden, and they say as a result of that, the wheel was broken. So?
Well, according to my witness, my daughter and my son, when he got off, it was still on the kickstand. She got back on it. She rode home on it. We felt that if he had done it, she would have went home. If she'd have done it right then, she'd have went home and told her father, hey, Brian just damaged my bike. But the story that we got is that the next day or so, he noticed the damage, came to the children and said, what happened to your bike? We're not sure. We think maybe when Brian was on it, you know, and so we just don't feel that he did it. It may have happened later.
Well, what you feel is irrelevant.
Okay.
Relevant facts are he got on a bike without permission. He was testing the shocks.
Okay.
He's a big boy. He jumped up and down. I mean, at least he's telling the truth. Now, when you went to ride the bike home, did you see anything different in riding the bike?
The bicycle wheel was rubbing up against the side of the bike.
And did you feel that before he had gotten on the bike to test it?
No, ma'am, I didn't.
Okay, so now I need the bill. But you paid the bill. $106, is that what it cost?
Mm-hmm.
Good. Now, let's get, what?
Your Honor, could I speak for just a second, please?
Sure.
What we've heard here is in a large part a fabrication. In fact, I'd like to call Michelle Stevens as a witness, if I could, please. Brian.
Second, sir, you just won your case. Why do you have to call
Well,
anything?
I know, but there's a little bit more than $106 involved here.
What?
It cost me $27 to file this in small claims court in Wichita, Kansas.
Oh, okay.
And there was more damage to it than just the wheel. The handlebar extensions were damaged, the pedals were damaged, the bicycle seat was torn up.
I asked for the bill to fix
Yeah,
it.
you got the bill.
You
That's
got
correct.
the bill, $106.40.
That's correct.
That's the bill that you gave me.
That's correct.
So?
Well, that's I guess that's the end of the story then.
That's the end of the story.
All right.
You just
Okay.
won. Sit.
Very good.
This is not a major toxic waste pollution case.
I understand.
A bent bicycle wheel. All right, let me get to the bottom line of your case, which I've read. Let me see if I understand it. Your daughter was playing over at their house. The plaintiff wanted to go someplace. And according to you, he said to the kids, why don't you just put the bikes in the backyard? The daughter put her bike in their backyard. The bike was stolen. And based on that, you believe it's his fault.
His responsibility.
No, that's wrong. How old is your daughter?
13,
So she had the capacity to say, I'm going to go put my bike in my garage?
which she did. And he said, no, just put it in our backyard. We won't be gone very long. And both of the girls' bicycles got stolen.
You want to go further and tell me about this torn screen?
This is just
When did that
what I
happen?
get from the kids. This was last summer.
Did you tear the screen in Mr. Stevens' house?
No, ma'am.
You have a witness with regard to the torn screen?
Yes. My
I'll
son.
hear you, Brian.
I was inside the house, and these two kids and my sister were inside, and I was trying to watch TV, and they were being loud, so they went outside. I locked the door, so they were locked out. I heard a noise at my window, and I opened the curtain, and Timothy was there with a stick poking a hole through.
Did you poke a hole through the screen?
Uh-uh.
Did you replace the screen?
No, but I have an estimate to have it replaced.
You went through a whole summer with a screen with a hole in it from a stick?
Yes, ma'am.
Get a patch. I can understand why you're aggravated, but it's unfortunate that people who had a rather pleasant relationship have any tension because of this. That's your fault. They're all a lot younger than you are. So the first thing that happened was you locked your sister and her two friends out of the house because you wanted to watch television in peace. Is that what happened with the screen? Stupid. Then you got on a bike, jumped up and down on the bike, not your bike, and bent the wheel. Also, stupid. As a result of that, two families, which had, I assume, gotten along reasonably well together if you let your daughter go with the plaintiff before, have any kind of friction now. Very, very stupid. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $133. The counterclaim's dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Patton, according to your complaint, the defendant and her 16-year-old son owe you for money as a result of the son's burglarizing of your home on several occasions. Their defense is that they do not deny, the young man does not deny that he entered your home illegally, but that on the date that you say the majority of the damage was done, somebody else did it. Right?
I believe so.
Tell me the first time you noticed that someone had been in your home.
I hadn't moved in yet, but I had the house furnished and was about to move in. And I came to the house one evening to bring some linens from my son's bedroom, and I noticed a police car in front of the defendant's house. And I walked into my house and noticed that there was some damage done.
Tell me about the damage.
I saw some pizza in the carpet. I saw the pizza container in the trash can. A Nestle Toll House cookie container or package was completely consumed and in the trash.
Had you brought these things into the house?
Not the pizza. The cookies I had put in the refrigerator, right.
Okay.
A bottle of Goldschlager was gone, and a half a bottle of vodka. The bed in my bedroom, the linens were all brand new, had all been pulled down and looked like somebody had slept in it. Let me see, 2 towels were missing. My jacuzzi cover was open, and the jacuzzi was running. And I hadn't been there in about a week at this time.
So you had not moved into this home yet? You were in the process of furnishing it?
Correct.
Go ahead.
And I thought, well, I better go outside. There's a police officer outside. I better go out and report this. And before I could get to the police officer, the defendant's younger sister approached me and told me that her brother had shot my windows out with a BB gun. And I hadn't seen that yet. That was on the whole side of the house that faces their house. So then I approached the police officer, and he was there to take the BB gun from the defendant at that time. That's why he was there. And on another case, I guess, I don't know. And he came over to my house, and I talked to him, and they just, talked about arresting him or pressing charges. And the defendant's mother said, if they make restitution, we won't press charges or arrest the defendant. So
the defendant's mother came to you and said that she would make
the same evening, right? The same evening.
Tell me the best that you can recall the extent of the conversation.
Well, the defendant's stepmother or stepfather wanted the son arrested. I guess there's been previous problems. but the mother didn't. She assured me that I'd get the money back for the broken windows and any other damages.
What did he say? Anything?
I've never talked to him. Never had one time.
He was not there.
No, he wasn't.
Did you get an estimate for the windows?
The estimate was $605.
605. What other damage was there?
About a week after I moved into the house had appeared to have been broken into again. And this time, I noticed I came in the house and the computer was on. We'd been out of town, and we came back and the computer was on. I went upstairs to my bedroom, and in my headboard of my bedroom, I keep a pistol locked, and that was broken open. And the bullets were missing, but the gun was still there. The spa cover had been torn with a knife. I checked my telephone, and I hit redial on my phone, and the phone number came up to the defendant's house. At that time, I called the police again, and they came out, and it was the same story. They tried to tell me they weren't in the house this time.
Who's they?
The defendant's mother and the stepfather.
Did you ever get the money for the windows?
Well, they had finally told me that they had the money for it and to go ahead and have it fixed. When we came time to collect, that same day, the stepfather and the mother I guess they separated, and there was no money.
Let's have it.
Some of the accusations that Mr. Patton has are true. I admit to that. I made a bad mistake.
How many times did you enter his house illegally?
3.
Give me the dates.
I don't know the dates. I wasn't.
Well, what did you do the first time you went to his house?
The first time, my sister was playing in the backyard and she threw a ball accidentally into the backyard. She couldn't get it, so I went over there. And the first time, I was just looking in the windows. Second time, I went over the door, sliding glass door was cracked open. I went in.
And what did you do in the house?
The cookie dough container that was opened, I had that. I ate that.
What about the pizza?
Pizza was not me.
Who was it?
I don't know.
Did you ever have anyone else with you in the house?
No, I did not.
Never?
Never.
But you slept in his bed?
No, I did not.
Did you sit in his bed?
No.
What else did you do?
That day, that was it. I just left.
You went into the house a third time?
Yes.
What did you do the third time?
Third time, the towels that he mentioned were missing. I was using those, and I went in his jacuzzi.
And it was just you. What time of the day or evening was this?
It was between 3:30 and 5.
Did you drink any of his alcohol?
No.
Did you ever make a phone call from his home?
No.
How old is your sister?
The one mentioned is 7 now.
You have another sister?
Yes, she's 12.
Did she ever go in with you into the house?
No.
So you did this all on your own?
Yes.
You sure about that?
Yes.
Have you ever been arrested before?
Yes.
For what?
Stealing.
Stealing what?
I can't exactly remember. I was around 12.
Stealing from where?
Walmart.
Now, why don't you tell me about shooting out his windows?
That was out of boredom. It's a mistake I made, and I'm sorry.
When the police were called to your house on the day that Mr. Patton says the police were there, they were there, he indicates, to remove the BB gun.
Yes.
So there must have been a complaint from someone about you with the BB gun.
Before Mr. Patton was there, I had already been caught, and...
Caught doing what?
My stepdad found me in the jacuzzi, and I admitted that I did break the windows with the BB gun.
So it was your stepfather who called the police?
I don't know who it was.
Who called the police?
I did.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Eddie Patton says next-door neighbor 16-year-old Christopher Shumway broke into his house and vandalized it. Christopher admits to using the jacuzzi and eating cookie dough, but says that's it.
Mr. Patton says he has not been reimbursed for any of the damage. Why not?
Well, he made that agreement between himself and my estranged husband. And when my husband left, he had already told me that he had given the money to Mr. Patton, which apparently was not so. And so when my husband left, so went the money.
Okay, well, it's not your husband's responsibility. This is not his child. This is your responsibility. Other than the $605 for the windows, Mr. Patton, what other damage did your property suffer?
The cleaning of the carpet for the pizza, and then the spa cover, which is going to have to be replaced. I haven't done yet.
How much was that?
$418.
$418.
And 88 cents.
And I beg to differ with these figures.
Why is that?
Because when we had the conversation in his kitchen, he said that the spa cover was no big deal. He knew somebody that could repair that. And the quote on the windows was $325.
You have something on the windows for me, sir?
I have a receipt for that, Your Honor.
Can I see it, please?
Construction company. My brother-in-law works for that company, and he did the labor for free for me. So there's no labor charge on that.
He's never presented us with a receipt.
Well, you can take a look at it. He doesn't have to repair a spa cover. He was moving into a brand new house with brand new sheets, everything nice and neat. The invasion of someone's home by somebody, by a burglar, eating, messing up the place. There isn't a question in my mind that your son did all of that. Not a question. He knows it, and I know it. He may have been with somebody else. If he chooses to keep that a secret, that's totally up to him. But it is far too coincidental to think that someone else would come and do pretty much the same thing as your son did. Take a jacuzzi, not steal anything else from the house, and just come in and generally vandalize it. That's his MO. So you're suing for $1,113.79, and I'm awarding you that judgment. Listen, you're 16 years old. You've already had 2 experiences with the law. This one you got away with because, according to you, you committed no less than 2 acts of burglary. Whether you go into a house and eat cookie dough or steal a diamond necklace, the value of what you steal has absolutely nothing to do with the charge. The charge is still burglary, because the definition of burglary is breaking and entering into the dwelling of another with intent to commit a crime therein. And you did commit a crime by taking property that didn't belong to you. And I don't care, it makes no difference to me or the law whether it was cookie dough. So you got away cheap. Now, I don't know what happened to you as a result of your first theft. Probably nothing. Did you go to court on that case when you were 12 years old?
No, I was given counseling and community service.
Probably a big mistake. Maybe if they had sent you to juvenile hall for a couple of days, we might not have been here today. In any event, the judgment is for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,113 as requested. Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
It was kind of exciting to move into a place that was brand new, everything new inside, and that kind of changed the outcome of that.
I won't do that again.
Justice is served.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Hamilton versus Seiler, step forward, please.
24-year-old nursing assistant Sean Hamilton is suing his ex-girlfriend, 21-year-old nursing assistant April Seiler, for destroying his 52-inch television set. April says she caught Sean cheating.
This is Miss Seiler, who has a very bad temper. Mr. Hamilton, you and Miss Seiler were living together for several years. You have a child together.
Yes.
According to your complaint, the defendant became irrationally jealous because she had heard some rumors of you fooling around at work. And one day she came to work, she confronted you, she saw you talking to this woman. When you got home from work, you found that she had destroyed a 52-inch television set. Is that right?
Yep.
So let me hear. That's what he's suing for. When did you destroy his television set? On what date?
July 20th, I think.
And tell me what happened on July 20th.
I went up to work, and I've seen
His
him.
work.
Our work.
You work at the same place.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead.
And he was talking to a female, and I asked him what was going on, and he said that they were just friends. And so I said, well, that's not what I've heard. So I went home, and he stayed with...
And that's all that was the whole conversation?
Basically, and he stayed with the girl. And I went
And you said,
home.
that's not what I've heard, and you left?
I said, that's not what I've heard. You guys have been seeing each other. And she said, it's not like that. And he said, we're just friends. And I said, whatever, and I walked away.
Okay.
And then I went home, and I was talking to my mom on the phone.
You were telling your mother what had happened?
Yes, and I was very mad, so I said, oh, I hate him, and I kicked the TV. And there's like a big hole, and my whole foot like went inside the TV.
So you destroyed the television?
Mm-hmm. And then a couple minutes later, he came home and said he was going to sue me and took the money that was left to get by with for the week and left.
How much did he take?
Maybe $300 or $400.
And then whose money was that?
Ours.
when you were living together, you pooled your money?
Mm-hmm.
Is that what happened?
Yes, sir.
You pooled your money. So this $300 or $400, how much was it that you took when you
It was approximately $300. But Your Honor, later on in the week, I did come back and I did give her some money.
How much money did he give you later
No,
on
he
in the week?
didn't. He gave me money before the incident for bills, but he never gave me any money.
Afterwards?
Yeah.
The moral of the story is never fool around with a man's 52-inch television set.
And can I say another thing?
Sure.
This was like 2 weeks before football season, so...
You're not endearing yourself to me, Mr. Hamilton. Go ahead.
He's done this before in the past, and the girl confronted me and said that he had been asking her out, emailing her, he's been calling her on the phone, and I have, you know, it's going to be 2 kids with him.
Can I ask you a question?
Yes.
The 2 of you are not married.
No, ma'am.
You're going to have 2 children.
Yes.
Why aren't you married?
Money.
What do you mean money?
Well, I've offered to marry her, you know, just go and get married now, and then, you know, later, you know, we could have our big wedding or whatever, but you'd have to ask her.
Why didn't you get married 2 years ago?
Can't trust him.
You can't trust him enough to marry him, but you trust him enough to have 2 children with him?
Yeah.
Mr. Hamilton, my next question to you is, if the defendant came up to you and you were talking to this woman and she had some concerns about the relationship that you were having with this woman, why didn't you leave with her and go home and say, listen, it's really nothing. She's really just a friend. Stop getting upset.
All right. First of all, we work at a hospital, okay? It's like 95% female, so I mean, for me sitting with this girl, and she wasn't in her right state of mind or something because she came up and she started swinging at me. You know, I couldn't really get anything out, you know, because I'm like covering up, and then she didn't just walk away, she ran away. I'm at work, I can't just leave work.
Did you start swinging as soon as you came up?
No.
No?
No.
Now, you bought this television set in 1998, is that right? Whose money did you use?
It was mine. I had sold some rims. I had these wheels prior, you know, before we even started dating or anything, and I got $1,200 for them. And then I saved up a little bit of cash and bought the TV.
Is that what happened?
Yeah, but he had been working off and on for the last 2-3 years.
I work on and off. I was doing lawn care at the time, and we get, you know, you can only do lawn care in Michigan because it snows 6 months out of the...
So who was supporting the household when you weren't doing lawn work at the time you bought
I would do
television?
odd jobs in the wintertime, like plow snow. And
Were you working full-time? And she was working full-time?
Yeah. But I would bring it in a sufficient amount of money, you know, enough to pay the bills and everything.
Where are you living now?
I live at my mom's right now.
You have a TV?
No, ma'am, I don't. I don't have nothing from the house.
I have no furniture?
Nothing.
He took the couch.
I had one
sold
couch
it.
that was in the basement that our cats urinated on for 2 years.
Did you move in that house together?
Yes, but her name's on the house.
But you moved into the house together? Did you furnish it together?
Yeah.
And when he left, you kept all the furniture except for the couch that was in the basement?
He took his computer. And,
I'm talking about furniture.
yes, because now I'm stuck with the house and I can't afford it, so I'm going to have to sell it. And I told him I'd give him the stuff, but for now it's me and my daughter, you know.
So you have the furniture?
Which is fine. She can have the furniture, and I mean, you know, I want my
He just
daughter.
wants a TV. You see
Yeah.
how important? Because
Well,
football
every time
season.
every time we got in a fight, she told me, you know, get your TV and get the F out. I mean, I feel the TV's mine.
So you need some money to go out and buy a new TV, right?
That'd be nice.
Well, she had a temper tantrum. So when you have a temper tantrum, you got to pay for temper tantrum.
And I have pictures of the TV too, Your Honor.
But believe me, sir, I have a husband. I know what a 52-inch TV is. Now, how much is it going to cost you to buy a TV? You paid $1,200 for this one?
I have receipts here.
Can I see it?
Yes, you can.
How much was the television set? So you got a whole lot of other things here.
I paid $15.49 for my TV.
Okay.
And that model's not made anymore, so they compared it to the model that's out now. That's closest to it.
Well, you may have to get a 48-inch television. And I'm not even going to depreciate it because, Miss Seiler, you ended this relationship, or this relationship was ended, and it seems to me that over the 2 years or more that you were living together, you accumulated certain property that you're keeping. All he wants is his TV. You destroyed it. And he paid $1,549 for it, and I'm issuing a judgment for the plaintiff in that amount. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. This is case number 252 on the calendar in the matter of Blush Journey Watson versus Owens. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks, have seats, please.
Ms. Watson, would you step up, please? According to your complaint, you entered into a contract with the defendant to buy a home. That was about 4 years ago. Is that right?
That is correct.
And the agreement was that you would pay the mortgage on the house plus an additional amount each month. And when the mortgage was paid off, the house would be yours.
That is correct, Your Honor.
And according to you, you lived there as good renters to own for 4 years. And for no reason, the defendant locked you out of the house, took your property, and you are suing her for the property that she retains, that it belongs to you. Is that right?
That is correct, Your Honor.
The defendant says that you breached the contract that you entered into with her, and that she has your property, it is in storage, you can have your property back when you pay the storage fees. And she is counterclaiming for the storage fees that she's paid thus far and for damages that she alleges that you did to the house. Correct?
Correct.
When were you locked out of the house?
The 10th of September, Your Honor.
Tell me the circumstances, sir. How did you find out you were locked out of the house?
My father-in-law, actually my stepfather, he was checking on the house as he normally does, Your Honor, and he noticed a locksmith.
Where were you?
I was at work at the time, Your Honor.
Had you been living in the house?
We had not. We had already moved at that point.
Why did you move?
We had moved because of the fact that for several months before we had moved, the defendant, Your Honor, had made it unbearable to live there. She was calling CPS on us.
Child Protective Services.
That is correct, Your Honor.
Yes.
She was in our business, making it to the point where we could not live there anymore.
All three of you lived in the house?
No, Your Honor.
Who lived in the house?
Me and the plaintiff right here, Afton Journey.
And you have children?
Yes, and my daughter, Dakota.
When did you physically move out of the house?
We physically moved out about a month prior to
Give me the date, please. Date, year.
June 24th of this year, Your Honor.
And when did you ascertain that the locks had been changed in the house?
That was on the 10th of September.
Between June 24th, when you moved out of the house, and September 10th, had you paid the mortgage?
Yes, we have, Your Honor.
Had you paid her money, June, July, and August?
We have, Your Honor, yes.
Okay. Is there any dispute as to that?
They didn't pay the portion to my contract. They paid the finance company the amount that was less than was due. The amount owed is $465. They were paying $450 and had been paying $450 for the 19 months prior to that.
Okay. How much were you supposed to get each month?
A minimum of $190 a month. The last payment I received is in May.
You have any proof after May that you gave her the money that you were supposed to give?
We were not able to obtain that, Your Honor, in time before this courtroom.
No. Don't baloney me. If you have everything else, then you have that. I mean, your whole claim is that you did nothing wrong and she locked you out of the house. Is that right?
That's correct.
So don't give me baloney. So you did not pay her the $190 for June, July, and August. Is that right? Answer the question.
We did, Your Honor.
If I might interject, Your Honor, Leanna was getting $500 a month from us.
Mm-hmm.
And I do not think that she would dispute that because at about...
Just a minute, $500 a month including the mortgage?
Absolutely, because...
Just a minute. Well, $500 including the mortgage does not give her what you contractually agreed to give her. What you contractually agreed to give her was the mortgage plus $190 a month. So you weren't giving her what she was supposed to get, is my question.
Yes, we were giving her... She came to me about 6 months ago and said that we were not making... The payments were like $465. I have an escrow on another house that was going directly to hers, which apparently was not enough. So she said that we were not paying enough.
Don't try to confuse me.
No.
I'm not talking about the bank money. Whether you were $15 short over the course of 18 months is very possible. I'm talking about the $190 that you were supposed to give to her every month. And you're telling me that you gave it to her.
Absolutely.
Well, then you should be able to show me bank statements that show a check made out to her or a statement made out to her for $190 each month. You don't have that. No. So she had an absolute right to lock you out of the house. Period. You weren't paying pursuant to the contract. Now, when you locked them out of the house, what property was in the house that belonged to them?
Your Honor, I have a videotape of what was in the property in the house at the time.
I object to this, Your Honor.
Object to what?
She could have taken out the property that was already there and then videotaped. She broke a window to get into our house.
It was videotaped from the moment we entered the door, everything. I wish you could get this in smell-o-vision to get the full impact of this house.
Nice front yard. Gee, wouldn't you like to be able to come home to this every day? This is actually better than it has been. Entrance in the house now. This is, again, the same date.
That's what I went into.
It's our house.
Garbage. Well, clothes. One man's garbage is another man's, who knows. Chair. The smell in here is just, oh. They never open their doors. 2 tables. I guess that's the way to do it. Just bring the dumpster in the house, huh? They got a cat a couple of months ago, and you can smell it. It's nauseating.
It was bad.
There's a love seat. I guess this is.
Shut up.
I guess this is how you store your valuable personal property. Not. There's a dresser, a love seat, 3 tables. Hasn't been opened. Oh yeah, she always would order from those clubs and then not pay them.
Might I add, Your Honor, that I filmed the window, everything, from the moment we broke the window to get in. It was all on tape prior to this.
What property, Mr. Blush, do you say was in the house that she has?
We had, I have a list of here.
I'd like to take a look at it, sir.
Yeah.
That one's handwritten.
By the way, when you moved out on June 24th, where did you go?
We moved into a trailer, Your Honor, in Milton, Freewater, Oregon.
That you were renting?
No.
No, we were buying that as well.
You bought it?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, how large a trailer?
It's a single-wide, 2-bedroom.
What did you leave clothes there for?
Because we just left some of the clothes. It was our house, Your Honor.
No, don't give me baloney.
What?
I asked you, what did you leave your clothes there for?
Because there were just extra clothes we didn't need. We took what we needed.
Right, for 2 months. If you move out 2 months, you take everything that you want, especially if you're moving into something that you buy.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Ron Blush, his fiancée, Afton Journey, and his mother, Betty Watson, are suing Ron's cousin, Leanna Owens. The plaintiffs claim Leanna locked them out of their rented home. Leanna is countersuing, claiming Ron and Afton trashed the place.
Sentimental keepsake collectibles. Irreplaceable. Like what?
Knickknacks. Things that I had done in grade school that my mother had kept for me.
Why didn't you take them?
We moved into a smaller place, Your Honor, and could not take everything we owned at the time. And since how we were buying the house, and it was ours at the time, we did not
No, it wasn't. You weren't paying for it.
Yes.
No, you weren't paying for it. All you paid was the mortgage. And you weren't paying her any money. Show me the proof that you paid the mortgage. Show me proof that you paid the mortgage.
These are the ones that...
No. Show me proof that you paid the mortgage June, July, and August. June, July, and August is what I want to see.
Okay. There's one check. Check those, Your Honor.
Yes.
I think they're the very last ones.
That's all. I just want to see June, July, and August. These are copies of your checks.
Yes, and the other ones are that I was paying Leanna is from a different bank, and you know, I do have one of them.
Would you show it to me, please?
Absolutely. I have this one, Your Honor, because when she went to deposit it, I think she put it in her boyfriend's name or something, and they wouldn't take it because of the endorsement. And so on the back of it, I just had Leanna write where I just paid her
This
cash.
is March 15th of the year 2000.
Yes.
I'm talking about June, July, and August of 2001. Yeah, you don't have them.
Yeah, you're right. We don't have it.
So what are you giving me this for?
Well, I didn't
What are you
realize
wasting
what the date on that was.
So what did you, when you looked at it, what did you hand it to me for?
I didn't.
Did you think I would look at it?
Yeah, I knew you would look at it, Your
right.
Honor.
Nonsense. What stuff do you have in storage of theirs?
I have a list of items that was in storage.
Can I see it, please?
Yes, ma'am. And I have
Is
photographs
this-
from the city
Is
prior
that-
to this.
Just a second.
Here's the receipt for the storage rental and the list of contents.
Okay. Did you pack pack up the boxes? It says 14 boxes of miscellaneous papers.
Yes, ma'am.
You packed them?
Yes, ma'am. They were on the floor, and I didn't throw anything away because who knows, they might want it.
Okay. And how much is owed for storage?
It's not that much. It's like $36.
Okay, and you have no objection to releasing this as soon as they pay you $36?
No, ma'am, not at all. In
Perfect.
fact, my attorney gave their attorney the key
Perfect.
27th.
Good. So you get all the stuff that's back right in here. All you have to do is pay $36.
Your Honor, I'd
The
like
case
to
is
show
over.
you,
Your part of the case is over.
yes, ma'am.
She packed up your junk. She put it in storage. It's all here, whatever you want. Because as far as I'm concerned, when people move out of a house for 2 months and they move into another house, then what they do is they take their most valuable stuff first. They take their precious pictures, they take their irreplaceable knickknacks, they take their computers, they take their jewelry, they take everything else. And the crap, they leave and they say, well, we'll come back and look through that stuff again. Maybe we'll want it, maybe we'll want it, but we don't want it. But you don't move into a 2-bedroom place and leave all your valuables behind. So that's crock. She's got your stuff. You can have all the stuff that's on this list. Now, I'm going to get to the counterclaim.
Your Honor, if I may, this is from the storage unit. When they put our stuff in, there was no lock on the door. When we went to, her notice here, if you'll look at it, says the storage unit has the key. When we went there, he didn't have a key, and he said that he could cut the lock off because she did put it in our name. When we went there, there was no lock on it. If you could just look at this, you know, maybe.
I'll look at anything you like. What is this?
That is what
That's what
Leanna gave
Leanna
us
gave
after
us.
she went
Stole
and-
our stuff.
Yeah, it's,
We're not even tenants.
no, I was a landlord for a lot of years.
Just 1
and you
second. All I'm asking you is about the storage unit. Is your stuff in storage or not?
No, ma'am. There was nothing there. When I went there, the man, that is the man that runs the storage unit. He said she left no key.
To whom it may concern, there has never been a lock on mini storage unit 429 since it was rented. So,
Well, I'm just telling you, what she took out of there never made it to the storage unit.
Did
There
you
is
put it in the
nothing
storage
there.
unit?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
There
Jimmy
was
can
no
verify
lock
that.
on it.
did you go into the storage unit?
Absolutely. The man went with me because he was going to unlock it. He was going to cut the lock off. When we got there was no lock on it. And when we opened it, when he raised it, there's nothing there, Your Honor. You know, what?
Then I think you probably should sue him.
She didn't put the lock on it, Your
Yes,
Honor.
I think
Yes,
you
She
ma'am, I
probably
never
did.
locked it up.
I think you probably should sue him.
She never
Not
locked it.
sue them. She has a contract that says paid. They were paid in cash. If you think that there was stuff in there that they failed to safeguard, sue them. You didn't pay her rent. After 2 months, she had perfect right to evict you and do whatever she wanted with the junk that you left behind.
It wasn't
You're suing her
rent.
for
We were buyers, Your Honor.
You're suing her for $5,000. You didn't have $5,000 worth of junk that you left behind. It's ridiculous. Let's move on to your counterclaim. How much should it cost you to clean up the house?
I have an estimate from a local company to clean it. It's for $6,000 for just cleaning. First, would you like to see some pictures the city sent to me?
Yes.
And the code violations outside the house that I had to clean up?
No, she doesn't see it. She says it's a rental.
It's not a rental. We got proof.
I know.
Is this a picture of your house?
After she took all the stuff and threw it on the lawn, yes.
Yes, yes. That stuff was in the house.
Yes, it was.
Yes.
The city has that date at the bottom of that picture. ma'am.
829. 829 is, if I learned my math, is before September 10th, when somebody said that there was you found a lock off the house. And this is 9/4, September 4th.
Who dated those?
The city.
Those are after we moved, Your Honor. We moved in June.
Yeah.
Oh, I understand that. And what you're telling me is you left all this valuable property in this very neat house that you left in June.
We were there the day before she broke in, Your Honor, to
Yes, we
remove
were.
some property. My grandmother
We'd
went
been
with
there.
us. We were still moving out and trying to put stuff in storage as we went through it and get that place ready for a rental.
We were going to rent it out, Your Honor. It's our house.
Oh, no, it's not.
It's not a rental, Your Honor. This is agreement for sale.
I understand what you're saying, sir. It's an agreement for sale if you comply with the conditions of the contract. Conditions of the contract are that you pay the mortgage directly to the mortgage company, which you had not done because you were paying less than the mortgage each month. You were paying $450 according to the checks that you gave me. You were paying $450, and in addition, from the time you moved out until September, you have absolutely no proof that you paid her the $190 that you contracted for. So you breached the contract. Okay. This is from the city of Walla Walla, Washington, I assume.
Yes, ma'am.
And it is dated August 31st of 2001. It's from the city that tells the owner of this property that they have to take care of the following things because they are in violation of city code. That is, weeds in yard 2 to 3 feet high, existence of junk, litter, and refuse, furniture and computer equipment on the sidewalk, planting strip area closed, cardboard, garbage cans, bottles, cords, fishing pole, plumbing fixtures, appliances, and it says that all junk and litter on the planting strip and sidewalk shall be removed by September 4th, and that you have to comply with the ordinance within 10 days of this letter. And if you fail to do it, carries a monetary penalty of $500 for each day the violations continue to exist.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So how much did it cost you to clean up the junk?
So far, just to do the front yard and haul out probably...
No, I want to see.
Oh, here. I have that now.
Show me.
Plus the pictures taken after their stuff was removed.
You're not going to get money for painting this house. You understand that? That's the big thing here. Because when somebody lives there 4 years,
that's fine.
You have to paint anyway. You want to sell it, you got to paint it. There was certainly a great deal of debris that I saw in the house and a great deal of cleaning. And probably it costs several $100s at least to clean up that mess.
The carpets have to be removed. The odor is...
Oh, there's no question about that. How much carpeting is there?
417 square feet.
Okay. Judgment of the court is as follows. On the counterclaim, I am awarding the defendant $2,500 for the purposes of cleaning up this mess, this disaster, and putting the house back in reasonable order, excluding the painting of the house, which you have to bear yourself. On the petitioner's claim, I am directing that the plaintiff may remove any and all property that is, in fact, a storage unit upon the payment of $36. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. This is case number 273 on the calendar in the matter of Rosales versus McKean. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated, ma'am. Have a seat, please.
Ms. Rosales, according to your complaint, the defendant, who was your former boyfriend, and you went on a trip this past summer to Mexico.
Correct.
About a month afterwards, you broke up with, or he broke up with you. It was a mutual thing. I don't know. You broke up. And you claim that he still owes you for some expenses from the trip.
Correct.
He says he does not. How long were you away?
We were away for a month.
How could you get away for a month? You have a good job?
No, I don't have a job. I just saved up money 2 years in advance, and I sold my stock to go on this trip.
Had you been working before you went on the trip?
Yes. My last job ended in November, but I'm a full-time student, so.
Were you working?
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm in retail management.
And you could take a month off from your job?
Yeah.
Great. Okay. What was the arrangement?
We were going to go away for 1 month, July 10th to August 8th, and I was going to bring my own money. He was going to bring his. I brought $1,000 in traveler's checks and $1,000 in cash. About a week prior to us leaving, he told me he wasn't going to have enough money, and he wanted to know if he could borrow my credit card. And I asked him how he was going to pay for it. He told me that he was going to sell his stock when he returned. I knew that his portfolio had more than the max on my credit card, so I knew that he was good for that amount of money. I agreed, we went on the trip, and we pretty much paid for everything 50-50. For like hotels, I would pay for my half in cash, he would pay for his half on the credit card. Everything else was 50-50. We made a conscious effort to do it that way so we wouldn't take each other's money. We came back August 8th. A little bit afterwards, I asked him how his stock was doing. It dropped dramatically, and he told me that because his stock dropped, he didn't have enough money and he wasn't going to pay me.
No. Sarah had been begging me for the last year before we went on the trip. Please, babe, can we go on a trip? I just want to go somewhere this summer.
Don't get dramatic. Don't get dramatic.
Anyway, she knew that if I went on a trip for a month, I'd lose a month in pay from work. So before we went on the trip, she knew I couldn't afford.
Don't tell me what she knew. I want you to tell me what you talked about.
I was going to bring some of my own money and pay for whatever I could. And she'd take care of the rest because she knew I couldn't do it otherwise.
No, just a sec. There's a difference between what you believe she knew and what you discussed. Do you understand? So I want to know what discussion you say took place before you went with regard to using her credit card.
Well, it was her credit card, and I wasn't going to be paying for it.
It's a lie.
I was going to pay for whatever I could afford to pay for.
No.
Okay.
With the money I brought.
Don't speak. When did your money run out?
I'd say about 3 weeks, 3.5 weeks into the trip.
That sounds unlikely, sir. That means that there were only a few days left that you relied on the credit card. Is that what you're saying?
Well, she was using the credit card.
Let us say you went to a hotel. You stayed in a hotel for 28 days, various hotels. How were the hotels paid for, Mr. McKeon?
I pay for what I could in cash, and she'd charge it on her credit card or pay for it in cash with her money.
So what you're telling me is the hotel bills were, for the most part, paid in cash?
No.
Shh. So how were they paid?
Well, some of it was paid for in cash.
Yes.
I don't really remember.
What about your meals, sir?
I paid for some of the meals, and she paid for some of them.
Were any of the meals paid for with a credit card?
Yeah.
How did you contribute to those meals that were paid on the credit card?
Well, she would pay for those because I'd pay for a meal one day or for lunch, and she'd pay for a meal for dinner.
So what you're saying, Mr. McKeon, is that for the vast majority of this trip, you paid your own way?
Yeah, definitely.
That's not what you say in your answer, Mr. McKeon, that you signed and that you swore to. You said, I had very limited money. She really wanted to go and offered to pay for all the accommodations and any additional expenses incurred on the trip. All I could afford to pay for was my plane ticket and some spending money. Does that refresh your recollection?
Yeah, but
Well, that's what you swore to, sir. And I assume that when you wrote this answer, you reflected on it, and in this answer you said you paid for your plane ticket and brought some spending money, but that she had agreed to pay for all of your accommodations and any other additional expenses on the trip. Now, is that what you're telling me?
Yes, that's true, Your Honor.
So you did not pay with your money for 3.5 weeks when you were on the trip. And then, as you just told me a moment ago, just a few days we used on her credit card. That wasn't true.
No, I helped out when
now
I
let
could.
me see. Now let me see your bills.
There's a breakdown, and also I have, this is one of the payments that was made. He made 2 payments to me. He made one payment to me of $40 so I could repay my mother back.
50.
Your Honor, that was
no,
just
and
to help
another
her
payment
out.
of,
I was just trying to help her
and
out.
another payment of $50 that I paid to the credit card.
Your Honor, she told me that after the trip, she'd get a part-time job and make payments on the credit card, and it wouldn't be a problem.
No, don't speak to him. I want to hear him. GB, I want to hear him. Go ahead, let me hear.
She told me that after the trip, she'd get a part-time job to cover the expenses, to pay the credit card debt off, and it wouldn't be a problem. And then when we got back, she started asking me for money. Please help me with this, you know, I can't afford to pay this. And I said, well, you were going to get a job.
How much do you earn at your job?
Of approximately $800 a week.
You support anyone other than yourself?
No.
You have an apartment?
Yeah.
You pay rent?
Yeah, I have roommates, though.
Good. What's your share of the rent?
About $600.
I never heard anybody describe their rent as about $600.
You either know it or you don't.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Sarah Rosales says ex-boyfriend Sean McKean promised to pay his share of a month-long vacation in Mexico.
Go ahead.
My witness here, my roommate, she heard him say that he was going to pay for it.
He's going to pay for it. Go away on a vacation for a month. You don't go away with any money.
I did bring money.
Did you bring just a second, did you bring a credit card?
No.
Why not?
I don't have a credit card.
Why not?
I don't like credit cards.
What do you like?
I've run up debt before.
What?
I've just had bad experiences with credit cards. I don't like them.
You have stocks?
Yeah.
Stocks are good.
Not lately.
I understand that. So you don't like to sell the stocks when they're down, except when you owe money.
I don't owe money.
Yeah, you do.
Whatever.
Yeah, you do. But you have a problem, Ms. Rosales, and I'm going to tell you what your problem is. It's clear to me the following. You went away with $2,000. You say his portion of these bills, which total together are $3,300.
Correct.
That would mean that if you double that, it would be $6,600.
Yes, he also purchased things on my credit card just for himself. He bought himself a surfboard. When we went to Chichen Itza to climb the pyramids, he bought like $200 in souvenirs. I have a list of things that I know for sure that he bought for himself. He bought swim trunks. He bought just different things for himself that I didn't buy.
Did you buy anything on these credit cards, sir, just for your own personal use?
I bought a pair of swimming trunks, yeah.
What about a surfboard?
Yeah, I bought a surfboard because it would have been cheaper to buy a surfboard than rent one at the place we were at.
How much was it?
It was like $200.
No, it was $388.59. This is just of what I know that he bought for sure. There's other souvenirs that he has, his whole room's full of souvenirs. I mean, he bought all of Mexico.
Well, on the credit card?
Yes, like he bought the surfboard at the hotel. So it
I
looks
see.
like a hotel stay, like that we stayed there, but he bought it there. Swim trunks, souvenirs is also.
Sounds to me if you don't have enough money, sir, that you watch surfboarding on TV instead of paying $388 for a surfboard.
That's no fun, though, Your Honor.
I didn't have enough money to buy myself
Miss
souvenirs.
Rosales.
So.
Yes, you did. You bought
do not.
$2,000.
Shh. Hey, he owes you money.
Yeah.
However, you don't escape without a tongue lashing. If you're being stupid, don't expect me to be sympathetic. You don't give a boyfriend a credit card. Ever. No way. Nothing. You don't give anybody a credit card, especially somebody that you are not related to by blood or marriage or committed to by virtue of an engagement. Even then, it's dumb and stupid. So you don't get any awards for brains.
I understand that, but I have loaned him money before and he's paid me back, so I had no reason not to trust him.
But I don't know how much he owes you.
It's $3,305.
I don't know or anything.
And 2 cents.
Oh, yes, you do. Oh, yes, you do. I guarantee you, as good as you think you were on this trip, you weren't. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,300. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
She wanted the money because she bit off more than she could chew.
I'm just ecstatic that she didn't believe him.
Pretty girls get away with everything. Justice was not served.
He's so full of it. He's just unbelievable.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Miller versus Hardesty, step forward, please.
19-year-old entertainment agent Jessica Miller and her husband, Howard Miller, are suing Jessica's cousin, 18-year-old carpet installer Stephen Hardesty, for breaking a lease. Stephen says Howard has a problem controlling his anger.
Mr. and Mrs. Miller, the defendant is your cousin. Whose cousin is he?
Mine.
According to your complaint, he signed a lease with you to live in some sort of property that you had for a year. He lived there for a couple of months. You claim he owes you for 10 months' rent because he left voluntarily.
Right.
And the defendant says that he was forced to move out by your husband, and therefore he owes you nothing. What kind of property did he rent from you?
My husband and I have a townhouse that we rent. When we signed the lease, he also signed the lease with us. We don't own it. We rent it from somebody else.
Your husband and you signed the lease when?
June 1st of 2001.
When did the defendant sign the lease?
Same date.
So what happened?
We had a few rules in the house. Before everybody moved in, we agreed on a few rules, being no drugs at all. It had to be quiet at night. You had to clean up after yourself. Just basic house rules. For the 6 weeks he lived with us, we had fights every other day about house rules not being cleaned up and stuff like that. One afternoon, his girlfriend at the time had said something to my husband about me, and when I got home that night, he said, "Don't talk to him. We're gonna have a house meeting when we get home."
Was his girlfriend living there?
She was, but she wasn't supposed to be. The deal with that was they have a child together. She was supposed to stay weekends so he can see the baby, and she could come over so he could see the baby.
Whose rule was that?
It was just an agreement we had until they got married, because she couldn't go on our lease until they were married.
Why not?
Because she's underage. She's only 16.
Shh. Okay, go ahead.
So she had an altercation with her parents to where she had to stay at the house. That was fine because the baby was there and there wasn't a whole lot of problems. But things just started getting out of hand. She wasn't working and neither was I. So we were supposed to take care of the house And it seemed like it was me always scrubbing the bathrooms and cleaning the kitchens and doing everything. There was a lot of fighting going on, and one night in particular, they had some people over and they had a food fight. There was chocolate cake smeared into my living room carpet. I had an ornament that was precious to me broken. So I told him about it because I was very upset, and he was going to talk to them when they came in. And things got out of hand with them, and he said, look, Sarah's got to go. She's not on the lease. She's not even old enough to live here. She's got to leave. So that started a huge fight. And one thing led to another, and Steve said, well, she has to go, I'm going too. So he left, and he came back about an hour later with a cop to get a few things out of the house, and we hadn't seen him since.
What have you done to try to rent that other?
We can't rent it because his stuff is still there.
What's there?
His bed, their clothes, other personal things of his, paperwork they left there, boxes of other
What's
things.
all your stuff doing there?
I wasn't able to get a hold of them to go get
Well,
it.
the house hasn't moved. You take a police officer and you go over there with a truck and you get your stuff.
That is not why I had the police over there.
I don't care why you had the police over there. Okay. I'm going to assume as follows, that they told your girlfriend to leave, and you said, if she and the baby go, I'm going too, and I consider that an eviction of you. Do you understand?
Ma'am, at that time, the baby wasn't living there. Her mother had taken the baby.
Yes, because of all the yelling and screaming that her husband did. Whenever my daughter would see him, she would
You understood that
cry.
if you said Sarah's going, that he was going to go too.
No, because they had fought and she had left 3 or 4 times.
When did you physically leave the premises, sir?
July 19th.
Did you pay July's rent?
Yes, ma'am.
Did he pay July's
Yes.
rent? What was your share of the rent?
$375.
So August, September, and October, so far you didn't pay,
No, ma'am.
right? It's not a very difficult case. If you tell the girlfriend to leave, he's going to leave. You told the girlfriend to leave?
Yes, ma'am, I did.
Mr. Hardesty, he says that he just told your girlfriend to leave. Did he tell you to leave too?
Not exactly, but once I told him that if she was leaving, I was leaving too, he said, fine, get your stuff and get out. And then he calls my wife a derogatory name.
When did you get married?
July 20th.
So
And-
this all happened the day before the wedding?
Yes.
Go ahead.
And then after he made the derogatory comment, I told him to shut up, that I was not talking to him. And then I heard my wife get out of the car and say something, so I looked over, and then when I went to look back, he punched me in the side of the face.
Ma'am,
and then
that's
I
not
left.
how that happened
No,
at
ma'am.
all. What had happened was our stairwell comes into our living room. He and I were standing on the stairwell, and he was standing in front of it.
No.
Sarah had said many, many comments that night about me being a fat, lazy, because I did not work. I stayed home to take care of our home. There were a lot of derogatory comments that every single person here said something. What had happened when he said she has got to go? Stephen said, well, she is not leaving without me. So he said, fine, I'm leaving. He went downstairs, and as he said, I followed him down. I said, look, this is not the way I want things to end. And we pretty much agreed that it had to end that way. There was no other way. So he walked out to his car to see what she was doing. When he came back up, he came at my husband. And my husband just held his arms
No.
out to push him. So the step under our house, he just didn't make it up the step. And then when he got back up, he came at my husband, and my husband swung
Yeah,
at him.
his arms were out like that, so I thought he was trying to tackle me.
No, ma'am.
So I swung at him.
Mr. and Mrs. Miller, since you have been required to pay the full rent for the months that he has things there which do not enable you to rent that part of your house to somebody else, you have to be compensated for that. You have to do, however, whatever you can to find someone else. But if you're going to rent the house to somebody else, you have to start looking. You can't start looking until he gets his stuff out. So this is what you're going to do. You are going to get all of his stuff. 5 days from today, all of your stuff is going to be out in the street. Do you understand?
Yes.
They are going to call Salvation Army or whatever else and have Salvation Army come the next day. So you have 1 day to get your stuff. Other than that, it's gone. Clothes, pictures, valuables, bed, dresser, anything else that's there. You got 1 day to get it.
Why should I only have 1 day when they
Because that's
told me
what
to
I'm
get
giving
out?
you. 1 day, unless you pay rent, which you haven't done. Do we understand each other? I'm going to reduce
no.
this to an order so that you can read it over and over again and understand it.
But what if all of my stuff is not out?
Sir, They don't want your stuff, and it's been 4 months already, and you haven't gone back for it, so I assume you're not missing it. Okay, so then you have a month to find somebody else, because I am awarding you 4 months' rent, or $1,500. Sir, you got a very narrow window to get your stuff out. Do you understand?
Yes.
Perfect. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Of yours, and you claim sometime last fall she vandalized your car.
Yes, ma'am.
She, of course, says she doesn't know what you're talking about. When did this happen, sir?
Approximately the fall of 2000.
Fall is a long time.
Around November. I know it was a time when the leaves were falling down because what happened was my car, there were enough leaves in the bin to cover my car completely, several inches thick.
So that's how you knew it was the fall?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so sometime in the fall of 2000, what happened to your car?
Well, as a result of the leaves being piled...
No, what happened to your car? You came outside, you see your car full of leaves. Is that what happened?
Covered with leaves. The surface of the car, the top surface of the car was covered with leaves.
Was this in the morning or in the... Mr. Chilcutt, was this in the morning or in the evening that you noticed the car?
The morning.
And what did you do?
I proceeded to clean the car off.
And then what happened?
That was it. After I cleaned the car off, I noticed that there were many, looked like thousands of tiny scratches in the car, and a couple of deeper scratches on the top of the car. And that was it. At that point, I had no idea that I had witnesses. About 8 months later, I was out waiting for a friend to pick me up, and Joe was outside washing his car, and we were just talking, conversing back and forth. And I told him about my car being vandalized back in the last fall. And he told me, he said, well,
Don't tell me what he told you. He's here, he's going to tell me what he said. Step up here, sir.
That's when he indicated to me.
What's your last name?
Bastillos.
Mr. Bastillos, are you a neighbor of these people?
Yeah, I am.
Did you witness anything happen in the fall of the year 2000 to the plaintiff's car?
Yes, one morning I came out to take off and go somewhere in my car, and I noticed this lady here throwing leaves on top of the cars that were parked in front of her house, which was his car and another neighbor's. And she was just, you know, dumping the leaves all over the car. And a lady across the street yelled out, "What are you doing?" And she's like, she proceeded to say, you know, she's off that people always moved her trash cans where they weren't getting picked up. So she was just irate and throwing leaves all over the car. But she also had the trash can on top of the car. So that's what I witnessed.
Okay, and how many cars did you see her dump leaves on?
2.
And you sure that one of them was the plaintiff's car?
Yeah.
How do you know that?
Yeah, I've been in his car before.
Are you a friend of his?
Yeah.
Are you a friend of his? You hesitated, sir.
Well, we're not friends, we're acquaintances.
All right. So then, can you explain to me why it took you 8 months to tell him what you saw?
Because no one asked me.
You say that you saw the defendant, in effect, vandalizing 2 cars.
Yes.
That another neighbor came out and yelled at her. That she responded that she was unhappy because people were moving her trash cans.
Yes.
And you didn't think it was appropriate at that time to go over to the plaintiff and say to the plaintiff, listen, if I were you, I wouldn't park my car over there anymore because your car is going to get damaged again. This is what I saw. So you mean somebody has to ask you that?
At the time, I didn't know it was his car until that morning he came up to me and asked me while I was washing my car. And
You didn't, I don't understand. At the time that this happened, you knew the plaintiff. Is that right? He's the plaintiff.
Yeah. I did not know what car belonged to him. I knew him from, you know, being in the building.
I thought
he
you
has
said
a
you...
truck. He has a truck and a car.
I thought you said you knew the car because you had been in the car before. I asked you, how did you know it was his car? You told me you knew the car because you had been in the car. Isn't that what you just said to me?
Yes.
So if you knew the car because you had been in the car, my question comes back. Why didn't you immediately go over and tell him someone has just vandalized your car? Your answer to me was because nobody asked you?
No. When you asked me if I knew his car, I was nervous. That's why I said what I said. I did not know his car.
You didn't know his car?
Didn't.
Did not. And you had never been in his car?
Until after.
No, just a minute. And you had never been in his car?
Correct.
Oh, okay, so now we're going back. You had never been in his car until after this happened.
Correct.
How much after?
2 months after.
So 2 months after you saw this incident occur, which would have been also in the fall or early winter of 2000, you were in his car under what circumstances?
He gave me a ride to pick up my car.
That was nice of him, right?
Yes.
And at that time, sir, you recognized his car as the car that had been vandalized, I assume?
Yeah.
Well, could you tell me why at that time you didn't discuss it with him?
Because he didn't bring it up.
Your Honor, may I?
No, you may not. He didn't bring it up. You didn't get into the car and say, gee, I didn't realize this was your car. You know, a couple of months ago, I saw someone vandalizing your car.
No, I didn't.
So what prompted you a year later to have this revelation and discuss it with Mr. Chilcutt?
Like he said, when I was washing my car, he came up to me, struck up a conversation, and mentioned that he was mad about the fact that someone was marking up his car.
So you said a year ago I saw somebody messing up your car. Is that what happened? Is that what happened?
No.
What did you tell him?
I told him what I witnessed.
A year ago?
Yes.
A year before? Good, sit down. What else do you want to tell me?
Your Honor, I asked Joe the same question. Why didn't you tell me previously? And at the time, he told me...
I don't want you to tell me what he told you. I just had him up on the stand. He testified. What else do you want to tell me?
Just that damage has been done to my car. Joe saw the lady doing the damage.
No, he didn't. No, he didn't. I don't believe that he, according to him, he first knew your car, then he didn't know your car. He'd never seen your car before. He was in your car. He wasn't in your car. That's your only witness.
Your Honor, he's
it's not
nervous.
Enough. It's not enough.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephen Chilcutt is suing his neighbor, Angela May, for dumping a garbage can full of leaves on top of his car.
I have to base a case on evidence. You don't even know the date that it happened. Sometime in the fall, around November. He doesn't know whether he's afoot or horseback. And if that's your only witness, you have no case, sir. Do you understand?
I have another statement from another neighbor who
I don't
couldn't
take
be here.
statements, I take witnesses. And do you want to know why I take witnesses? Because if I took his statement, I would find her guilty. But after examining him, sir, he didn't see nothing that I can rely on. Do you understand? So I don't take statements. Do you have anything else? Do you have any other witnesses?
I have no other witnesses.
Good. Thank you for your time. Case is over. Dismissed.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I didn't even get to give my story.
According to my witness, she tipped it up on top of the car and scraped it across the car.
We have those big green trash cans from the city. I could no more pick up one of those big green trash cans than fly.
And now the next case.
All parties in the matter of Holiday, Presley versus Llewellyn. Step forward, please.
30-year-old court collector Laura Holliday and 20-year-old Autumn Presley are suing 23-year-old cashier Erica Llewellyn for attorney's fees resulting from a false police report. Erica claims Laura and Autumn keyed her car.
Who is Miss Halliday? I am. And Miss Priestley, that's...
Presley.
Presley? Mm-hmm. Okay. According to your complaint, you believe that the defendant falsely accused you of keying her car, as a result of which you were arrested, had to hire an attorney, and ultimately, I assume, found not guilty. And you want her to pay the attorney's fees.
Mm-hmm.
And some small amount for harassment. The defendant says she believes she had good cause to notify the police of your involvement in vandalizing her car. So the first thing I have to know is, how do you ladies know each other?
My husband has a son with her.
Your husband has a child with the defendant?
Correct.
How long are you married?
3 years.
How old is your child?
He'll be 4 in February.
And you?
A child also with her husband.
And you have a child with her husband?
Her husband.
With her husband? And how old is your child?
She will be 4 in March.
He must have been very busy 4 years ago. Do you have any children with him?
No.
Okay, so that's how you know each other. Each of you have 4-year-olds with her husband.
Yes.
And you two are friends.
Mm-hmm.
When did this alleged incident of vandalizing your car take place?
In between the dates of March 16th and to the 18th of 2001.
On the 16th, the car was okay?
Yes, ma'am.
And what did you find on the 18th?
I had really bad key marks on both sides of my car. I had it on the trunk and on the hood.
Can I see pictures of it? Do you have pictures?
I do not have pictures.
Okay. Do you have a police report?
Yes, I do.
Can I see the police report?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, I assume there's no question that you contacted the police and gave the police at some point the plaintiffs' names as the perpetrators of this act of
Yes,
vandalism. When did you do that? How much after the incident?
Almost a week.
It was on the 26th of March.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, so what happened on the 26th of March that suggested to you that the two plaintiffs were responsible for the damage?
My next door neighbor, I hadn't talked to her within that week, came over.
Told you something?
Yeah.
Is your next door neighbor here?
No, she's not.
Well, that's interesting because your testimony with regard to that would be hearsay. However, there are certain exceptions to the hearsay rule. And one of those exceptions is, if I don't take it for the truth of the statement, but merely that it was said to you that caused you to do something else, which in this case would be to call the police, I can hear what she told you and then make a determination myself as to whether or not she actually told it to you.
Okay.
Not whether she saw it, but whether she told it to you. All right, so you had a conversation with your neighbor. Tell me what your neighbor said to you.
She told me that Saturday night that she seen a white Jeep parked across the street, and she sat there and watched them for a little bit, and she said she seen them walk over and keep my car and then take off laughing.
Did she describe the people?
She did describe the people. She actually said they were both white. She said that they had long hair and they were a little bit thick. Well, I don't know how to explain it, but they were bigger women.
Do you have any police reports?
These are the copies of what she has as her statement.
She didn't give me anything but one sheet of paper. Okay. Is there any interview in this police report from your neighbor?
No, the neighbors, none of her witnesses showed up in the court either that dismissed the case.
My neighbor is extremely sick.
That doesn't prevent the police from going and taking a statement.
Right. When I told them who it was and where she was, they did not even take any kind of initiative to talk to her.
I have a statement from the car dealership. My car was in the shop the week of the 15th to the 20th.
Let me see. So you actually never went to trial in this case?
No.
To whom it may concern, this Jeep Cherokee was at Extreme Auto Credit, Inc. for repairs. Did you show this to the police?
The police never contacted us. We gave it to our attorney.
Now, what would make you think that these two, other than this statement, which I find difficult to believe because the fact that this alleged witness who told you about what she saw couldn't come to this court today, there's certainly no reason why this witness couldn't go to a local court, right?
Yeah, but she's extremely sick.
Well, maybe she's too sick to see what she said she saw. What would make you think that these two women would do such a thing to your car?
I've had problems with Miss Halliday for years, and just this year I just started having problems with Miss Priestley.
Why would you have problems with them?
I've been back and forth in court for like the last 4 years because she's taken me to court for stuff that she has said I've done that I haven't.
Like what?
Like judgments. She's took me to court for trying to get restraining orders against me several times.
Yeah.
She stated that I stalked her and all this, and I've never stalked her.
A couple of basic questions. Put your papers down. Did you ladies know each other before you had this mutual Don Juan? What's his name, by the way, your husband?
Ernie.
Ernie. Before Ernie, did you ladies know each other?
No.
No.
So it would be fair to say that any disputes that you've had, and I assume that there have been some negative feelings about children, child support, visitation, seeing all these children, that without Ernie, you would not have any problems with each other. Is that a fair statement?
Yes.
Probably.
Do these children visit Ernie?
Yeah, Ernie has full custody of 2 of them.
Of both of these children?
No. He had joint with her. We have a custody trial coming up in April.
So the child lives with
me.
You. And what about your child?
Mine lives with him.
Lives with Ernie?
Mm-hmm.
And lives with you?
Correct.
For how long?
About a year now.
Ernie has other children?
Yes.
How many more children does Ernie have?
Ernie has 5 children.
Ernie has 5. She says 6.
By 5 different people. We also had I was with Ernie for 6 years before them two had got together, and we had a daughter together that unfortunately passed away.
That was the 6th,
Yes,
I
ma'am.
assume that you're talking about. You think you're going to stay with Ernie forever?
I don't know.
If I were an odds maker, I would say no. So I'm going to give you all a little bit of advice. You didn't ask me for it, but you're here, and you're a captive audience, so I'm going to tell you. You're making a fool over yourselves, each of you, for somebody that's probably not worth being a doormat for you to wipe your feet on.
I agree.
I mean, the fact that you got snookered in by this thing for some periods of time, for 4 years, for 5 years, for a year, it's a mistake. But to be involved in litigation, to be involved in harassing each other, just ridiculous. Don't you agree? You got to put a stop to it.
Yes, ma'am, I agree.
We tried at one point. We were getting along at one point, and I loaned her money to get her license back and such, and she never paid me back. That's what one of the court cases was about.
She never gave me a chance to pay her back.
Whatever, so it seems to me. This sounds almost like a communal marriage. Listen, you all don't have to really like each other. The fact that you have this common thread in Ernie is unfortunate, but it doesn't make you family. I mean, I assume you have to go over there to pick up your child who Ernie has custody of. Do you have other children?
Yes, I do.
How many other children?
I have 2 other children.
Where do they live?
With me.
Well, why does this child live with Ernie?
Because Ernie has custody of her.
Did you voluntarily give Ernie custody of 4-year-old?
Yes, I did.
Why would you do that?
Because we were going through court at the time, and they were trying to have me pay for something that I shouldn't have been paying for.
Like what?
I think it was from when she was born, and he just took over the responsibility to pay the bill. So, in order for him to take over the bill, he had to have custody.
Come on, you're being a little obtuse here. Give it to me straight.
That's why he got custody.
No.
Yes.
No. You mean if he pays the bill, he gets custody? That's why they gave him custody? Was that your contract with him? Was that your agreement with him?
No, it wasn't a contract.
Bunch of wackos. You're all a bunch of wackos. You have no case. She probably had grounds to call in a report that she believed that you had damaged her car. The fact that your car may have been in the shop, may not have been in the shop, that also was hearsay, by the way, the letter that you gave me. And you probably have done the same thing to her. How many times have you been to court with her?
I went to court with her a few times. One time was when she kicked in my door and came at me with a butcher knife. The other time was when the police had to remove her from my property. So
you've been involved a few times with each other.
Yes, ma'am.
Correct.
That was the same day that she was talking.
Listen, you want to make fools over yourselves.
I don't.
With regard to Ernie's tentacles, you're going to continue to do that.
I have
and
nothing
I
to
can't
do
help
with
you,
Ernie.
but we certainly aren't going to reward you. Case is dismissed.
Parties are
Thank you.
excused. You may step out. Now, this is case number 157 on the calendar in the matter of Van.
Small loans to the defendant over a 4-month period. And in addition, you want him to reimburse you for expenses when you were driving him from a halfway house where he was semi-incarcerated to his job when he was on probation. He says that you were friends, that there were never any loans, and he is counterclaiming because he says that when he finished his stint in the halfway house and went back to his girlfriend, you began a series of harassing phone calls, visits, etc., and he's counterclaiming in the amount of $3,500 for that harassment. When and where did you meet the defendant?
At my work. And I met him in June of 2000.
And when did you make the first loan to him?
In February of 2001.
What was that loan for, and tell me how it came about?
We were sitting in my car, and he said, "Can I borrow $60 from you?" We had a relationship. I picked him up every night from work, and then
Your Honor.
Go ahead.
And we also met for lunch every day, and he needed some items.
And when was that? On February what?
About February 12th. There's several days.
Well, that's what we're here for, madam. You come to
Correct.
court. You come to court, you're organized. You can't just come to court and say, I made a series of loans to him. This is the total amount. Thank you very much. My case has been now proven.
Correct. How about if I start from the beginning?
No, how about starting where I asked you? When was the first loan that you made to him?
I'm sorry, I don't have the exact dates. I don't have receipts for them. I gave him cash.
I didn't ask you for receipts. I said, when were the loans?
Correct.
I read your complaint very carefully, and you said, when our relationship started, I began writing about it in my journal. I'd write about the normal stuff you write about, including the items that I loaned him.
Correct.
So you say you have a journal.
Okay. Correct, I do. On March 9th, I loaned him $60.
Just a second. What happened to February? February comes before March.
Okay, I'm so sorry. February 6th. He just asked if he could borrow that money to get his car registered. I loaned him $73.
So it's not 60, it's 73.
Correct. On March.
Just a second. Can I see the journal, please?
Sure.
Would it be fair to say, madam, that
Yes,
you
sir.
have no independent recollection of any specific amounts that you gave to him or the circumstances surrounding giving him that money, other than this journal? Would that be fair to say?
That would be fair to say.
I'm just looking through it. I'm not reading your diary. I'm looking at what you've highlighted. What you've highlighted, most of it is I just picked him up from work and brought him a pair of Nike pants, but there isn't anything in here that I see so far that talks about, here's one. That looks like March 16th. He borrowed $15. Other than the $15 in the text of your diary, is there any other amount in the text of your diary?
That's all. I wrote it at the back of my journal.
Well, I
everything.
see what you wrote in the back of your day. You said, Dave owes me.
And then it has the date. Some of them has the date by them. There's 3/19 and
3/16 was $15, and on 3/19, $7 for junk. And the rest of them, $3 for cigarettes, another $3 for
That's just
cigarettes,
how I kept
$20 for
track.
cigarettes.
And driver's license and registration.
Madam, there is a difference between giving somebody money and making a loan. When you make a loan, you give somebody money, you anticipate that money being returned, you make a payment plan with them, you say, when are you going to return the money?
We
Let's
did
leave the
have a
money
payment plan.
What was the payment plan?
He was going to pay me $20 a week when he got out. I'll pay you back. Just keep track of it, and I'll pay you back.
Does that sound familiar to you?
No, Your Honor, it doesn't.
Anything sound familiar to you so far?
No, because she
Does the fact that she would give you money periodically for little odds and ends, does that sound familiar to you?
Yes.
Okay. So she did give you money. Not a large amount of money. I mean, the whole thing doesn't come to very, very much. It comes to, according to her journal, $288, right?
It could be. I didn't keep track of it.
Well, did you tell her to keep track?
Did I tell her to?
Yeah.
No, I didn't. She knew.
Don't tell me what she knew. What she knew goes to the operation of her mind. You took money from her.
Correct.
Why?
She was giving it.
Well, she wasn't giving it unless you asked her.
But
I
there
need
was-
$3
there
for
was no-
cigarettes. I need 3 payments.
Okay.
I need to register my car. I need my driver's license.
There was no arrangement to pay any of it back. None.
Why?
Because she knew the situation I was in. I didn't have any money. What started as a friendship, Your Honor, turned into a fatal attraction.
Listen to me. I ain't interested. I'm interested in money. You were in a halfway house because you had been arrested. You had been arrested and convicted, and you were serving time in a halfway house.
Correct.
She was schlepping you to and from the halfway house to your job because you had no means of transportation because you had a suspended license. So far, is that correct?
Once in a while.
Once in a while. It's a lot more than once in a while because I have her diary. That she was doing. That doesn't mean
Anybody
she gets paid
can write
for that.
anything.
Nah, that's what she... Listen, she took you back and forth. She had conversations with you. That doesn't mean she's going to get any money. Because I don't know if you had an arrangement with regard to paying any of the expenses on the car. You have $288 in cash that you say you gave him, but you're suing him for $950, and the rest of it you claim were miscellaneous expenses, like...
Gas.
Well,
Just
what
gas
kind of...
for the car.
What arrangement did you have with
The
him?
same. It was just the same.
No, I don't believe you. I don't believe that.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Shauna Van Blaricom says ex-boyfriend David Wyberny owes for loans and rides to work. David says Shauna is a fatal attraction.
I believe you liked him when you picked him up. You drove him where he had to go, but I don't believe there was any of an arrangement for you to be reimbursed for your gas and your mileage and the wear and tear on your car. Don't believe it. Okay, let me get to the counterclaim. You have a counterclaim for harassment, which far exceeds her claim. You want to tell me about it?
Well, like I said before, what started as a friendship.
Don't tell me what you think it became, sir. Tell me when it started.
Shortly after I left the RCF.
What's RCF?
Residential Corrections Facility.
When was that?
In May.
And had you been seeing her up until that time?
Off and on as friends.
Okay. But
Okay,
she
no-
would pick you up, drop you off, occasionally give you cigarette money, then you get out of the RCF.
Correct.
And?
I quit talking with her because
Why is that?
things got a little deeper. She wanted more, and I couldn't give her more.
Well, if you quit speaking to her, you quit speaking to her immediately when you left RCF?
Yeah,
Where did you go to live?
at my house,
Who else lives there?
my girlfriend.
So you went back to your girlfriend immediately.
Right.
So the plaintiff had served her purpose.
I guess, yeah. I mean, I went home on the weekends too, so it wasn't. I was only down at the RCF during the week.
Did you tell her that you were going back to your girlfriend on the weekends when you weren't there?
Yes, she knew I had a
No,
girlfriend.
don't tell me
and-
what she knew.
Yes, I told her that.
That you were going back to your girlfriend on the
Yes.
weekends. Did you know
Yeah.
that?
Yes, I did. He told me that he was leaving her and after he received some papers because he owed her money. And when he got those papers that he had paid her off, that he was going to be with me and move in with me.
What kind of papers?
It was from a car dealership he had to pay.
You the girlfriend?
It's in this.
Yes, I am.
Step up. Tell me your last name.
Stalin.
Stalin, what kind of money did he owe you?
He had written a check out on my account for a down payment of a truck.
Yes.
And he had been paying it back, but there was no deal to have it paid back.
Just a second. He wrote a check out on your account?
Mm-hmm.
And he forged your name?
Yes.
Thank you. Sit down. So he told you once he got that debt paid off so that she wouldn't prosecute him, he would leave her and come back to you. Well, there's some substance to that story, sir, because your girlfriend seems to acknowledge that you forged her name to a check. So that's not a story that the plaintiff is making up out of whole cloth. But you got taken. You got had.
I know.
So that's not a lawsuit. You chalk that up to, I got had. Next time I'm going to, if I have to pick somebody up at a halfway house and drive them to their job, that should be my first clue that this wasn't what my mother had in mind when she said Prince Charming is coming along. Do you understand that?
I do.
Okay. All right. So now let's hear about the continued harassment after you went back to your girlfriend.
She would call our phone and hang up. I have police reports here.
Mm-hmm. I'd like to see them, please.
Of 2 incidents.
I'd like to see them.
And in one of them, the officer advised work. It was harassing her at work to the point where she was trying to get my girlfriend fired from her job and causing problems with my girlfriend's employer.
You lied to the detective who took your initial report, sir. Is that right?
It wasn't a detective. It was a
Police officer. You lied to the police officer who took your initial report. Is that right?
Right.
Okay. So let me gather what's been going on. The plaintiff called you several times at your job. One of the things she did when she called you at your job was to play a phone recording of him indicating that he was, in fact, still calling her. She wanted you to know that you were living with, dating, whatever, somebody who was two-timing you as he had two-timed her.
Mm-hmm.
That's pretty much what it was. Is that right? Mm-hmm. And the second phone call was someone who you did not know who it was at the other end because they hung up immediately. You assumed it was her. Is that
It
fair?
happened enough times that yes.
That you assumed it was
Mhm.
her. And they told you that you could, in fact, have records pulled, et cetera, but that was never done. Is that right?
No.
Fine. That's what I gather. Your harassment claim is dismissed. As for your claim, madam, I want you to be smart. Chalk it up to experience. Chalk it up to experience. She's with him now.
I understand
You
that.
have to say, good luck.
That's right.
Good luck, and I'm out of here.
That's right.
And I'm lucky to be out of here when I am, because if you want somebody with good character, you don't find them in a halfway house. Thank you very much. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Don't be so trusting of everyone. Not everyone is good-hearted.
I think she needs to grow up. She's 34 years old and she should have learned a lesson a long time ago.
And now the next case.
All parties on Williams versus Hume. Step forward, please.
19-year-old student Jennifer Williams is suing her ex-boyfriend, 19-year-old student Michael Hume, for attorney's fees, money loaned, and for kicking down her door.
Miss Williams, the defendant is a former boyfriend of yours. I gather you were arrested on some sort of a warrant from when you were a juvenile. Is that right?
Probation violation.
And at that time, according to you, Miss Williams, he's in jail, and you loaned him some money to buy some socks and other toothpaste, I guess, combs,
Yes, ma'am.
shaving stuff. That wasn't a lot of money. How much was it?
$200.
Did he ask you for that money?
He asked for the money to be put in his account. I said I would do it as long as he paid me back.
Did you say that to him?
Yes, I did.
You remember that?
Not at all. I don't.
Do me a favor, don't laugh.
Sorry.
Did she put any money into your account?
Yes, she did.
How much?
She said 200.
How did she know you needed money in your account?
Well, I made phone calls.
And what did you say?
I said that we have commissary and I would like some money, and she sent me money. Some of that money, I was under the understanding that some of that money came out of one of my paychecks when I was working security before I was incarcerated.
Did you have any paychecks of his that he got after?
No, ma'am. None of the money that was put into his commissary account came out of his paycheck. That all came out of my paychecks.
Where was his paycheck?
At Sandy's house, who was his employer at the time. It was at her house.
So you never got his
No,
paycheck?
ma'am.
Okay. Now let's talk about the lawyer, because that's a much bigger bill. You say that you paid for his lawyer.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was that?
Well, I had thought it was $1,100. I have the receipts. It says it was $1,200.
But you sued for 11.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
That's it.
Okay. Tell me how come you paid for his lawyer?
I went to go see him in jail. It was originally understood he was going to get a court-appointed lawyer. Then he had called me and said he didn't want a court-appointed lawyer, that he had wanted a real lawyer. And then the next day when I had gone to see him in jail, I told him I would pay for the lawyer as long as he paid me back when he got out of jail.
A lot of that is false.
Just tell me the story, sir.
Okay.
And try standing up straight and looking at me.
Sorry.
Good.
Now,
looking at
basically,
me. I'm not there. I'm here.
okay, sorry. I told both her and her mother that I was fine with a court-appointed lawyer. I didn't agree to pay them back at all. I also it was never in writing or anything. I'd never said that. It was just never said. I was just under the understanding that she was paying for my lawyer to be nice because she loved me, blah, 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 you know.
There's a lot there to love.
Thanks.
Well, if you didn't want her to pay for your lawyer, and if you were just as happy with the public defender, why didn't you just say to the lawyer when the lawyer came to see you in jail, I have a lawyer, thank you very much, I don't need a lawyer?
Well, I didn't have a court-appointed lawyer yet.
So you had no lawyer and you're sitting in jail?
Not yet. I hadn't.
Just pay attention.
Okay.
You had no lawyer, and you're sitting in jail. How old are you?
19.
Had you been in jail before?
Yes.
For how long?
Around 2 months.
Did you know her then?
No, no, I did not.
When you met him, had you known that he had spent some time in jail?
The first time I met him was when we were both working at Friendly's. I didn't find out he was in jail then until the third week we knew each other. We weren't dating yet.
But then you found out that he had been incarcerated. Did you know what for?
Over the months we had dated, he had explained things. All I knew is that he had a probation violation, possession of marijuana, possession of a controlled substance, eluding the police. List goes on and on.
You're still on probation?
No.
So you're not drug screened anymore, is that
No.
right?
Correct.
How did I know that?
You're really intelligent.
You're really right. What else?
Well, as far as him for telling you that he had never said he would pay me back, my witness was there. At the time, she is my mother. She was in the room with us when he said it.
Let me hear you. Miss Williams?
Yes.
Let me hear what you heard. Where were you first?
We were in the lawyer's office. His father had mentioned, I'm not going to pay for your lawyer. And Michael had said, I will pay you back.
So you were all sitting together?
Yes. And the first time we had talked about the lawyer, I had gone with my daughter to see him in jail. And he said, don't worry, Ma, I'll pay you back when I get out of jail and I get a job.
Is that what he called you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. What else?
He put a hole in my door, my bedroom door, when we were fighting one night.
Forget it. Let me tell you something. Was this after he got out of jail?
Yes, ma'am, it was.
After he got out of jail, I wouldn't have let him back in my bedroom at all.
And I was very stupid to do so.
Fine. Then you pay for the door out of your own stupidity.
All right.
Where are you working now? What is that around your neck?
This? Necklaces.
One or more?
2.
What are they made out of?
Just aluminum and metal.
Mm-hmm. Where are you working now?
Right now, I'm actually not working. I'm applying, though, at various jobs.
Who are you living with?
I'm living with my friend.
This friend?
No, not this friend.
What kind of friend?
He restores cars.
What else does he do? Does he sell? Is he a business person?
No, not at all.
Does he sell anything
No.
other than restoring cars?
No,
No.
People want him to sell his car, but he won't do it.
I wasn't talking about cars necessarily. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. That's all.
Parties are excused. You may step out. Yes. Parties have been sworn in, Judge. You may be seated. Folks have seats, please.
You are Mr.
Murray.
So you are the father of the...
Bride.
And Miss Rose, you're the mother of the groom.
Yes, ma'am.
Who are you?
Groom.
Where's the bride?
She couldn't be here. She was too upset over these matters, Your Honor.
I believe it. Okay. Bert, I want you to listen to this very carefully. You haven't married any of your children yet, right?
Not yet.
According to the complaint and the counterclaim, the two families were planning a wonderful wedding for their children, and now the wedding, which has taken place, is over. And each of the parents are suing and countersuing the others for monies that they say are owed to them as a result of the expenses for the wedding. We're not talking about a lot of money here. Mr. Murray, you claim that Mrs. Rose owes you $573.79. And Mrs. Rose, you say that Mr. Murray owes you $2,999.45. First, let me hear what the claims are before I rush to judgment. Okay, sir. When was the wedding planned?
The wedding was planned for March 31st.
And you like the bridegroom?
Yes.
Nice guy?
Yes.
You think your daughter likes him?
I hope so.
She's known him for a while?
Yes, I think they've known each other 3-4 years, something like that.
And looking forward to a wonderful life together.
Hopefully.
So tell me how much you say you're owed by Miss Rose, and for what?
All right, I think the total is $573.79. She wanted to have the reception at her club, which is
Who
a
wanted to have the
bar.
reception at the club?
Pat, Mrs. Rose wanted to have the reception at her club or bar, or I think the sign on the front says honky tonk.
It's not a honky tonk. Excuse me, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Matter of fact, I have pictures of
Just
showing that.
talk to me, sir.
But anyway, we met there 2 weeks before the wedding to go over things that need to be done and this and that and the other. And she'd asked, in fact, about a week or so before that, if we could clean the carpet. We own and operate a carpet cleaning business. So we agreed that we'd come in and clean the carpet, and the deal was...
You mean
on
before the
carpet-
wedding?
Before the wedding. And the deal was on the carpet was that we would clean the carpet for whatever it cost for materials.
Go ahead.
We went in and cleaned the carpet. In fact, my wife and my stepson had went and cleaned the carpet. They were in there for like 6 hours. We used somewhere around 60 gallons or 62.5 gallons of cleaner in this restaurant. It was extremely, extremely bad. I mean, for the square foot of a bar.
It was a dirty carpet, and you cleaned
Very
it.
dirty.
That's your business.
Right.
Okay.
So anyway, Thursday night we stopped by the club. They were in there starting to set up. They were blowing up balloons, I believe. She said she didn't have a way to go to the store to pick up some of the food items that she wanted to prepare for the reception. We said, well, we can go do that. My wife left, went to the grocery store, picked up the food items, brought them back. We said we would settle up after the wedding. The wedding took place on Saturday. Monday, we went back in to pick up some of our things. In fact, we'd sent her a bill later on that week after we'd got everything together. She called and said that she didn't think she owed that kind of money. We sent her receipts. We heard nothing.
Okay, so your receipts are for what, sir?
The receipts are for the items that were bought at the grocery store.
And how much was that?
$53.24.
$53.24 of the items you bought at the grocery store. And what else?
We'd taken some ribbons and things by for table decorations. I mean, it's just simple things like 94 cents on ribbons and stuff like that.
So, yeah, go ahead, 94 cents. What else?
Right. It was some things in there from Food Line.
All total,
Meat.
sir, for the items that you picked up for her that you have receipts for, how much do you have receipts for?
Oh, Lord. Be $123.79, I believe.
$123.79. All right. And what's the other money for?
The other money, the $450 was for materials used in carpet cleaning.
Okay. That's what your claim is, correct?
Yes, Your Honor.
Let me hear from you. What's your claim about?
Would you like these receipts?
No.
Well, first of all, Your Honor, when I talked to his wife, Mrs. Murray, about cleaning my carpets, I told her it was for the wedding because I wanted the carpets to be clean for the reception. First, she said, no charge. I said, no, I will not let you do it free of charge. She says, well, why don't we get the boys to clean the carpets and I'll charge you for the chemicals? And I said, that's fine. How much do you think that'll be? She said $25 or $30. I agreed to that. The boys came in, they cleaned the carpets. And then the Thursday, as he was talking about her going to the grocery store.
I don't want to hear about the grocery store.
Okay, they came over to...
Shh. I don't want to hear about the grocery store. I want to hear about your counterclaim.
Oh, my counterclaim. Okay.
Right, that's what I want to hear about.
Okay, my counterclaim is $2,999.45. These are charges incurred because of the wedding, the rental of the dance area, which is half of what I would normally have charged.
Why did you charge him anything?
Well,
Why'd you charge him anything?
It's a business.
What?
I coughed up $400
for what?
For the rental of the business.
No. Listen
I closed my business down, Your Honor, for 10 hours.
Just a second. How long was the reception?
The reception started at 4.
And was over at what time?
4:30, 5 o'clock, and it went on to 12.
Were there other people in the bar?
Not customers, no. Everybody was in there, was invited to the wedding.
Fine. How many children do you have?
One, thank God.
Good. So you have one child, and you happen to have a place where they could have the wedding. So what's the big deal if you close your place for a
No
night?
big deal.
Good.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Stephen Murray says mother of the groom, Pat Rose, owes for money spent on his stepdaughter's wedding. Pat says it's Stephen who owes.
What's next?
Preparation and setup.
What does that mean?
That was doing the decorations, all the things that had to be done, setting up for the food area, for the cake, the decorations for the club.
What else?
Clean up.
What else?
Rental of linens.
Linens?
They did not want to use my white ones. They wanted the champagne ones.
Fine.
I quoted
How much was that?
$65.
Good. Go.
I have invoices.
No. I want you to keep talking to me.
Okay. The food.
How much was the food?
My cost on the food was $601. I called a caterer to find out how much.
How many people were at the wedding?
187 people RSVP'd.
No. How many people came to the wedding?
I didn't do a head count, Your Honor.
But a lot of people.
Yes, it was full.
Okay, and the total cost of the food was approximately $601?
Right.
Okay, what else?
Champagne.
How much was that? Your cost?
$210. She agreed to pay for this.
Okay, what's next?
The bands and the DJs.
Are these regular employees of yours?
No, you book bands and DJs as you need them.
No, I'm asking you. Were these regular employees of yours? Did you pay them by the week? Did you pay them by...
No, you booked them per occasion. I had booked a band in there. Mrs. Murray called me and insisted that I cancel the band. I told her it would be just as cheap for me to let them go ahead and play because I had to pay a cancellation fee. She said she wanted a DJ and karaoke to cancel my band. I did. I paid the cancellation fee, hired a DJ, and as soon as I...
Now, do you give me some idea of what the cost was for the music?
I paid $290 cancellation fee. Then I had to turn around and pay another band that she insisted that I hire $300. The DJ and karaoke was $250.
Okay, what else?
And then there was additional wait staff, loss of linens due to the fountain, and the carpet. I have invoices for all this, Your Honor.
I'm being very arbitrary here. There are certain costs that I'm considering in my head and certain costs that I'm not. Now, Mr. Murray, how many children do you have, sir?
I have 2, and I have 2 stepchildren.
I want to know how many children you have.
2, 1 daughter, 1 son.
And how much did you pay out of pocket for her wedding?
That was my stepdaughter that got married, Your Honor.
Oh, it was your stepdaughter that got married? Well, that's your daughter. Step up.
Your Honor.
Just a minute. Your name is Miss Murray?
My name's Darlene Murray.
You have one daughter?
I have 2 children, 1 daughter, 1 son.
Are you employed?
Yes, ma'am, I am.
Are you employed?
Yes, I am.
What I want to know is how much the parents of the bride actually expended for this wedding and what you spent it for.
Your Honor, first of all, may I please say...
Say nothing except answering my question. How much money did you spend to feed the guests at the wedding?
My agreement...
That's not what I asked you. How much did you spend to feed the guests at the wedding?
I would say that I spent over $200.
For what?
The rehearsal dinner, unbeknownst to me, was at my home that was not pre-planned.
Who planned a rehearsal dinner at your home
The
without your
rehearsal
knowledge?
there was not to be, Your Honor, a rehearsal dinner because the rehearsal was going to be at 7 o'clock in the evening, the night prior to the wedding.
Right.
My son just got married last May, and it was
How
also-
did you get to have a rehearsal dinner at your house without your knowledge?
Because we were doing dinner for the guests that were coming in from out of town
Mostly
that would
family
be
members.
staying.
Your
Today-
guests.
Correct.
Just a second. Just a second. Your guests.
Correct.
From out of town.
Correct.
Were any of the groom's guests from out of town at this rehearsal dinner?
They were not to be, but at the last minute, because of not planning correctly, Miss Rose informed me that they would then come to our house after the rehearsal.
Honor.
So I ended up with their family and our out-of-town guests at our home for a rehearsal dinner that we prepared all the food and liquor at.
Okay. No, don't answer. Don't answer. Don't answer me. Don't answer me. How many people did you have at your home for dinner?
I would say 50 people there.
50 people. And of the 50 people, how many people were from the groom's side?
I would say roughly.
Not roughly.
Some people I didn't know. I mean, they were friends and out of town. I would say probably somewhere around 20 to 25. It was probably about equal amounts.
Okay.
She's okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
What else did you spend money on?
For the wedding?
Yeah.
Other than dress and personal items?
Yeah.
Nothing, because it was not my wedding. This is my daughter's third wedding, Your Honor.
wedding.
I paid for the first one.
And Stacy and Wayne agreed to pay for this wedding.
My daughter is 35 years of age. This was their wedding. I do not believe that it was my obligation as mother of the bride to pay for a wedding that they did
Then let me
arrangements.
ask you this question.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay? And I don't necessarily disagree with you, because that's information that was not contained in your complaint. That this was a third marriage for your daughter.
Your Honor.
Shh.
Excuse me. Okay. I'm sorry, Your Honor.
Just a minute.
Okay.
And that you paid for the first one, maybe paid for the second one, and you weren't going to pay for a third one. You said, wish you good luck, but I'm not paying for the wedding. That's not unreasonable, so.
That's basically how it worked.
And
right.
I had-
Just a minute. That doesn't mean you're going to get your money for carpet cleaning. Let me explain that to you. That's outrageous. It's outrageous because I've had my carpet cleaned a couple of times in my life, and it doesn't cost $450 for materials for carpet cleaning. You know it, and I know it. Mr. Murray, you know what a jug, a whole vat of cleaning material costs, and it doesn't cost $450 for carpet cleaning. And even if it did, which it doesn't, it seems to me, while you had no out-of-pocket expenses for the wedding, it was a nice gesture if you said, if you're donating your hall, which, by the way, you're going to do.
Okay.
I'm giving you that right now.
That's fine.
If you're donating the hall, at least I want to do something to make it pretty, so I'll come in and clean the carpets. So I've just taken care of your claim. You have no claim. You cleaned the carpets and you picked up $100 worth of food. Big deal. According to you, you had a lot of out-of-town family. I don't know if it's your family, your daughter's family. So even if you made a rehearsal dinner, you decided to do that, and you made it at your house for your out-of-town guests, you knew that they were going to be fed at her establishment because she paid for the food.
No, Your Honor.
Yeah, I believe she paid for the food for the wedding.
Your Honor, may I please say something?
You're telling me everybody brought something?
Yes, ma'am. And I have the list
a
as
friend-
to how it was
A friend
done.
of ours that came from North Carolina that does wedding cakes, she made the cake and she brought the cake
How
down.
many people were at this wedding?
I think
About
it was- I think it was-
120 people.
yeah.
120 people. So somebody else made a wedding cake. Big deal. And
No,
if you're telling me this was a potluck wedding where everybody brought a dish to feed 120 people, I'm telling you I don't buy it.
Well, it
Forget it.
wasn't-
You have no claim.
Wasn't
You
enough food
listen to me.
120
You
people.
have no claim. What I don't understand is why you two people have chosen to interfere with the happiness of your children over what I consider pittance of money. Everybody has problems when they plan a wedding. Everybody has problems when paying for a wedding. The bride's parents are supposed to do this. The